This is Alex.
Patrick.
And this is Yaman.
Oh god, they're gonna be so mad that you started off by yelling.
Yeah, you fucking yelled at them, dude.
Oh shit. Sorry guys.
You've upset everyone.
You're like a dad that goes
What a
missing for
disappointment.
months and then you come back in yelling like you don't
Was
think
that
you have
loud?
an explanation.
I didn't realize that was
It
loud.
wasn't even that loud.
Oh my
No.
god.
I'll probably make it really loud in post so people.
Is
Oh,
your
think
mic
it's actually
recording?
loud.
Are you using your mic?
Yes, I checked.
Are you sure?
I checked.
This
I don't
dude is
believe you.
double and
I
triple
checked. You were down here when I checked.
I know, but I was messing with all the equipment. There's a bow downstairs. I didn't know that.
There's a bow downstairs?
I'll have to keep my hands off.
Like
that.
a hunting bow.
Oh, shit. Are you into archery? Did you ever have an archery phase as a kid? I know I did.
An archery? Is that normal? What are you, fucking Charles Xavier?
When did Charles Xavier ever get into fucking...
and horseback riding and lances.
Point me to what issue did Charles Xavier get into archery? When has he ever used the bow and arrow?
I just
in
came
any
up with an
medium?
example of a guy with a fancy name who lived in a Victorian-era mansion in New York.
I don't think there
You
are
know
many
what's
of
weird?
those left.
It's supposed to be pronounced Xavier, but people put egg savior.
Yeah, it's because
The
we're
savior of eggs.
we're like almost illiterate as it is, and any complicated English sound is beyond our reach. So we have to make it easier for ourselves.
Beyond our halo reach.
Shut up.
It wasn't even a joke.
I imagine that.
Oh, we know.
Yeah, I imagine that most people who. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something about people being dumb, but I'll just leave
Like
it
your
at that
mom.
because I don't want to go. Fuck off.
I see the apple doesn't fall far from the dumb.
Okay.
I would, if you were a stand-up comic, I would heckle the shit out of you. I have
You'd
a.
be removed from the venue.
I'm usually pretty respectful, but I would just like
The
roast
shit
you.
out of me means that you would say something once, and I'd be like, "Take that guy out of there."
No, I
I
would
don't
just.
know.
I'd
I would like
heckle
Kalina
you.
to stay though if Kalina was there,
I would heckle you so hard that.
and she'd boo you as you left. She'd clap. It's like, yeah, get that fucking asshole out of here.
That's like the ultimate win. It's like you kick him out, you keep the girlfriend there, and you fuck the girlfriend after the show.
Jesus Christ.
I'm gonna kill you next.
Okay,
Yaman.
I didn't have to be Alex specifically. I was just saying a heckler, but
Technically, Alex could be the girlfriend that you fuck.
True.
ooh, that's a
Yeah.
really good point.
You're coming back.
It's like
spicy.
a win-win.
Built all this rage within you.
God.
Is this
Yaman,
everything
rage?
that
Am I
happened to you-
angry?
No, it's not. I'm fucking with you. Jesus Christ.
Yaman, you're like the least angry person I've ever met in my life.
That's not true at all.
Actually,
Are
yeah,
you
on
kidding
Xbox,
me?
You
Have
do
you played
yell.
games with him? You have.
A little
Take
bit.
it
That's
back.
different. That's different.
In real life, you're very calm. On
Yes.
Xbox, you turn into a whole other animal, which is why I was shocked when we were playing one day and you just started fucking yelling.
It was the loudest.
Yeah.
He gets the loud. I imagine that you relish the moment your parents and
Oh,
your
yeah.
sister leave, because then
yeah.
you're like, yes, now
Yeah.
I can scream.
I mean, I don't do that. It's just like I don't have to hold back should I become angry.
like you don't have to bite the pillow or anything.
Yeah.
Like when I hear you do it, most of the time I think you do it as like a joke because you get mad
A lot
over
of
the
the
most
time it
trivial
is.
shit.
It's
So I'm
a lot
just
of the
like,
time-
oh, okay.
A lot of the time it is like I'm slightly angry, but I'm yelling like I'm viciously angry for comedic effect. But I am like usually frustrated at whatever's happening.
I haven't yelled at a video game since Modern Warfare 2 when I was like 13, and I just kept getting noob tubed and commando knifed. And I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, "Fuck
Oh,
this game!"
I don't yell so much as just get really genuinely angry. Like the last time I got actually angry was For Honor when we went back to playing that for a little while.
Yeah.
That game is frustrating and it's not fun, and I
We
hate
had
it.
we had the same experience twice. Like when we went back to it, it was that same like, oh my god, this game is amazing. It's the greatest game ever for like 3 days.
Yeah.
And then we hated it with all of our passion.
It's
It
so
was-
bad.
It
It's
was
so
great. It's the same experience twice.
Wait, how the hell do you go from "this is the greatest game ever" to "this is so bad"?
I don't
because
know.
you start winning and then you lose,
Yeah,
Oh,
you
that's
start
fair.
winning, and then you start finding people that know how to outwin you.
which means pressing the same fucking move 800 times and getting around you like a Beyblade. Fucking
Yeah.
assholes. Basically
that-
picking the same class that moves 9 times faster than any of the other classes.
I find that happens when I start playing games for the first time because matchmaking usually works by like it'll pair you up with people of a similar skill set and like similar level, right? So when you start off, it puts you with just like the shittiest people. Like everyone's a blank slate. So usually when I play the first couple of matches, this happened to me in Rainbow. you get paired up with the worst people and you just completely dominate if you're even like halfway competent at even holding a controller. If you have 2 hands, basically, you're good.
It's even worse with For Honor because there's like 9 people playing it, and you'll get a team where it's like you and 6 bots, and then against like 9 like fucking god tier people who have all the best armor and are all level 97 and have skulls above their heads. It's just like, this should be fun. This is gonna be a fun game.
Dude, that's the shit I hate is like, and you can tell this happens a lot in Overwatch, because what I'll do is, if my team is losing terribly, like I can barely leave the spawn, I'll just open up the scoreboard and see everyone on their team is like level 90 plus, and then I'm like level 30, and there's maybe one level 80 guy on my team that's trying his best, but he quits after 2 minutes, and then the rest of us barely know what we're doing.
Is that how you explain away all your failures? Oh,
Yes.
They were better than me, so it's not. It doesn't count.
Listen, Patrick, it's matchmaking inequality,
That sucks.
and I'm running
What a
to
pathetic
fix
way
that
to
for
go
the
through your
citizens
life.
of this country. Matchmaking inequality is no fucking joke. It's the
I don't
leading
know.
cause of broken controllers and
It's really weird with
anger
Overwatch
management.
when it doesn't work perfectly because I'm so used to that game just being like lightning fast. Same with Fortnite. I've always entered a lobby when it's like 99 players waiting for one more, instantly getting into a game. It's like just so. I'm probably spoiled for that kind of shit now because we go into Titanfall. It takes more than 2 seconds, and I'm just like, man, this is really wow.
I actually have had the opposite experience where Overwatch, for some reason, it feels like it takes me for fucking forever to get into
Really?
the game.
What are you playing it on?
All the time. Well, on PC and on Xbox. I don't know why, but the matchmaking counter will just go and go. I think it's because it has a literal timer on it. That's like all you stare at, pretty much.
I would like them to remove the skirmish thing.
Oh, I turned that off. You can turn it off.
I hate that so much because it'll be
it's
like,
really
oh, you
annoying.
can play now, but it's not really the game. It's just
Gotcha.
It makes no
gotcha,
sense.
bitch.
It's like you fucking thought. Well, Titanfall, which has about 1% of the players that Overwatch has, I feel like I can get into a game instantly. Like I don't even think twice about it.
It's literally only attrition. Because I queue up, like you can multi-queue different game modes. What other Smite lets you do this? You can multi-queue different game modes, and whichever one you find first, you'll get into. And I always multi-queue attrition, hardpoint, and something else.
I just do
and we always get attrition.
Those two, and then pilot versus pilot.
We can never play anything else because attrition is the one that always has people playing it.
I feel kind of bad though because then I haven't played any of the other game modes.
Yeah.
Like I've never played Titan versus Titan. Never played whatever. There's like a special Titan brawl mode apparently, which I imagine is just a bunch of Titans like gathering on a table, arm wrestling with robot arms. And but I'm having a lung attack.
Well, while you have your lung attack, can you explain to me what the hell is going on with it? There was a restaurant that was like, you can't eat here.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking A, that was loud.
That was loud. Whatever
You
happened.
just ate your microphone.
Oh, did I? Fuck, I'm sorry.
Oh!
Fuck!
Who's yelling now, huh?
See, that was really loud. I feel like my dad's gonna come in here and be like, "Are you okay? Something wrong?"
Your dad would do that?
Yeah.
What's that like?
I'm surprised Yami and your parents don't ever come in and be like, "Yeah," either tell you to shut the fuck up,
I don't
or
yell when they're home.
Oh, okay, so you only yell.
You think
when
he's
you're home.
screaming to
I've
high
had- yeah.
heaven when
I
his
seriously
parents are
think
in
you're
the room
screaming to
across from him?
heaven like when everyone's home. Like
No,
you just
it's-
don't give a shit.
It's because they're out a lot and they're out late, so I'll be screaming at like 2 a.m. and that's when you'll probably assume it's like, well, it's 2 a.m. People are probably asleep or something. No, they're not home. I've had times where it's just me and my little sister, and I get louder because like I forget, and
Yeah.
like she'll be like. Maybe not that night, but like the next day, she'll be in my room and I'll be like, "All right, you gotta get out. This game has bad words or something." And she's like, "I can hear you cussing from upstairs."
Your
Whoops.
voice penetrates brick and stone.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
You're
my
an
sister-
entirely different person when your parents aren't home. Though. Like the moment you invite me to the party, you're like,
Exactly. Yeah. It's nice.
I'm like, oh, cool. His parents are gone.
For a second, I imagined that like you just yell and cuss all the time, all you want in your house because you've kind of like dominated it. And anytime your parents say shit, you're just like, "What? What? Get the fuck out of my face,
Yeah,
you fucking
right.
fuck."
Yeah, right.
He's the alpha male.
Shut the
That's a
fuck up,
good
dad,
joke.
pussy. Get me some fucking Mountain Dew.
That's exactly how it is.
Go get me my fucking pizza, dad.
It is
Jesus,
so
I'm
funny
starving.
just to think about the possibility of him doing even 1% of that.
Oh my god. Rip.
Oh man. But yeah, did Sarah Sanders get punched in the face or something?
No, okay. So
Can
what
you give me
happened
bullet
was-
points and not like the
I'll
saga
give-
of how
I'll
it
give you bullet
happened?
points. Here's, I guess, the most.
So Trump got
confusing
elected
part.
no.
It all started.
2016.
Okay, so in
Failure.
2001, A Space Odyssey, the dawn of man. So there's this restaurant called Red Hen.
Yeah.
In Lexington, Virginia. It's like 3 hours outside of DC, I think.
Neat.
Sarah Sanders was eating there, and the owner of the restaurant, who employs immigrants and diverse people, obviously, they're pretty standard in the restaurant industry. She's like, "Oh, Sarah Sanders is working here. I'm gonna talk amongst my employees and see
Sarah
how
Sanders
they feel
work
about
there?
this." Or she's eating. She's eating there.
She's
Yeah, she
busting
decided to
tables.
just drop everything and just bust tables on the weekends.
Hey, how you doing?
But she talks to her employees, and they're like, "Yeah, we're pretty uncomfortable with it." So she was like, "Okay."
Oof.
Asked her to leave. She leaves. It seemed pretty polite. Like the way it all went down, actually, was pretty. There was
Civil?
no spat or anything. Yeah, it was very civil. Then she ends up tweeting about it, and this restaurant catches a bunch of flack for it. But the catch is that there is a restaurant in DC called Red Hen that is completely unaffiliated with the restaurant she was actually kicked out of.
It's not another version of them?
Nope, it is completely unaffiliated. I've been to
Weird.
it, and it's a great restaurant, actually.
Why are there two restaurants named that in the same locality?
Well, not in the same locality.
Are they
One
a
is
chain?
No, it's not a chain. They're not
That's
related
weird.
at all.
Completely
They're both
separate.
just named after the
They're
same animal.
Hours away from each other.
That's terrible.
Yeah. And so
That's really
now
dumb.
trumpeters, or whatever the fuck you want to call them, are really dumb, and they're just harassing every restaurant with the name Red Hen, even if it's not the correct one.
Wasn't it getting egged?
It was getting egged.
Ironic.
I know the real one in Lexington
Shut
got
up.
like people threw poop at it, and like
Not
I
ironic.
think did graffiti and shit. Unironically threw shit. But yeah, no, both restaurants were getting like death threats and all kinds of crazy shit.
Death threats? Jesus.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a bakery that refused to serve a couple of cake because they were gay?
Yes.
And
Oh, yeah.
then Supreme
Some-
Court was
yeah.
like, yeah, they don't have to serve anyone they don't want to serve.
Yeah,
And now,
that happened.
The interview was
a few
fucking
weeks
weird.
ago.
and now
Yeah,
Sarah
okay.
Sanders
Bizarre.
is asked to leave.
Citing
it's
that.
like, what? Why? They have to serve everybody.
Yeah, it's definitely like a hypocritical thing. If you want to get into like the legal technicalities, that because the
Why would you-
cake guy's religious, he can deny making gay people a wedding cake because Christian people aren't in favor of gay marriage. So like that was the line of reasoning there. In this instance, it's just like, "Oh, Sarah Sanders, I think you're a terrible person. No one here feels comfortable with you being here, so we're gonna ask you to leave,"
Could you
which
not?
is like fair.
Could you not say it's against your religion to insert literally anything she supports Trump doing? That is
No, I mean
bad.
that's,
Is that not?
Nah, that's kind of bullshit. And like
How?
crazy.
How's that?
That's
different?
exactly the same.
It's
How's that
not
different?
because well,
Why?
I mean, I guess you could.
What do you mean? Is
There's
that
a
hard for you to
plethora
believe?
of things to choose from.
I mean, I'm not a fucking lawyer, and I feel like if you pulled
This
some
isn't
shit
even
like that,
about lawyers, just logic.
the gay cake thing and the Christian thing
Gay
are a lot more directly related because the Bible and churches are very explicit about gay marriage not being okay. Like that's
It's
an
amazing
issue
that
that is
people
directly
will
addressed.
they're religious over just the idea of morality.
Yeah.
Like, you can't eat in my restaurant because civil rights issues, and then that's terrible. But if you so choose, you may deny someone the ability to buy a fucking cake because they want to get married and have a happy life together.
Yeah.
These are different things. It's amazing that one of them is somehow better because it's a religious thing.
Yeah, and this whole fucking like restaurant bullshit story has kind of gotten a bunch of people up in a tizzy saying like, "Oh, stop harassing, Trump conservative people in public. They deserve to have a life too,
Don't
and,
harass
be
people in
civil to
general.
them and whatever." I was like, "Really? Be civil? Like, be civil." That's coming from you realize who the president is and like how civil he is towards other people, where he's constantly just like shitting on everyone. And,
So
like,
we should
just-
all act like that?
Yeah, basically. Like, there was actually a good article I read that was like, Trump has lowered the bar so much, so of course, like, don't tell people to be civil when the president and who's the head of all of this shit
That's
is
so
the least civil
stupid.
person
That's a
imaginable.
stupid idea.
Yeah. I mean, there's like the high-minded idea that when other people go low, you know, we should go high. Like, we should like hold the moral high ground and like be like, you know, no, even though I disagree with you and even though you're a shitty person, I'm gonna treat you with respect and like be a
We
better
should go
person
low
than you.
because they did it first. Shut up.
Yeah, but now like fuck it, like all
Also-
bets are off. Like everyone's down in the mud together. Like who cares?
That's such a stupid whatever.
I mean, I think it's stupid because it didn't get Democrats anywhere for the longest time. So now that people are kind of like throwing it away because all this bad shit's happening now, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense to me. Like we've been trying to be too nice and too, I don't know, being the bigger person for a long time, and that hasn't gotten us anywhere. So fuck that.
So we
Let's
should all act like fucking chimpanzees.
Yeah, well, let's just all fucking let's meet them at their level. And let's
Why?
Like, be, like fucking.
Dude, let's all sling shit at each other because one of them is what?
Well, I mean, like it's not just like the president.
Obviously,
he is
yes,
the,
but
he is like
saying,
basically the standard
Trump
bearer.
is pile of shit. So why don't we dive into the pile of shit with him to face him on his own ground? That's stupid.
I wouldn't even say that. I wouldn't say
But
people.
it's not that. She was asked nicely to leave.
Yeah, in the case of the restaurant, she was
Like,
definitely.
Oh,
in
I'm not talking about
this
that. I'm
case-
talking about people who are saying be uncivil because they are.
Well, that's what's happened. So somebody will actually be uncivil,
Yes.
and then something like this will happen where someone is nicely asked to leave,
Yes.
and then people call it the same level
It's related, yeah.
of. They put them at the same level when it's not the same. And people say what Alex was saying, if they can do it, why can't we? But it's not even the same. It's not even the same level of.
Well, the
being
other
uncivil.
argument is that because the Trump administration is actively pursuing policies like putting children in cages and separating them from their parents and things like that, you know, being uncivil is the least of our concerns when actual people's lives are being destroyed and hurt in the process.
I don't think that you should harass people on the street simply because it's a chore and it will not benefit you or anyone in any way. But this doesn't qualify as uncivil. Asking someone to leave a restaurant because they're
that's definitely not. I mean, I'm the least confrontational person in the world, and I will never. If I literally saw Hitler on the street, I would literally be like, "Oh, should I say something?"
Why is it always what it boils down to? Like, what does civil really mean? What does this definition that I think of really mean? It's like such simple, stupid, like, semantics.
Yeah. Well, it's 'cause like standards and norms and definitions of things that we used to think everyone had a good understanding of has been thrown out the window, basically. So now it's a free for all, and everyone's just trying to hold.
Have
on
they
to
been
this
thrown
fucking-
out the window, though?
Kind of. Yeah.
They kind of still exist, except quite a number of people are going against them.
I mean, the president doesn't give a shit about them, so basically,
Yeah.
why should anyone else?
What is it that we're not giving a shit out about, specifically?
Basic civility, tons of other norms.
What
I
does
mean,
that
there's,
mean to you?
It means like not name calling people. It means like not calling out a private business. Like, and then the president also called out the restaurant on his own Twitter account.
It was the slimiest. Like, it wasn't like, I can't believe what it was like. They're disgusting, dirty windows need to be cleaned, and it was like.
Yeah, he basically
Google image search a picture of the restaurant.
I don't know.
It's in like an old historic town in Virginia. It's like in a. It kind of looks like one of those colonial houses in Williamsburg or something. It's pretty cute. It doesn't look dirty.
Probably makes him nostalgic.
Dirty to me, but yeah.
It makes me nostalgic.
But yeah. Anyways, that's what happened, and that's the
That's
whole ensuing
stupid.
shitty argument. Yeah, it's been a whole fucking week, man. Like,
What else has happened?
My dog died.
you don't have.
Don't bring up dying dogs.
anymore.
I have a bad track record.
Patrick, what's that thing you said that girl?
My
you
dog
told
didn't
that girl
actually
that
die.
your
Just wanna
dog
clarify.
died.
What?
You
We
told
already
that girl-
talked about that before.
Did we?
To,
We talked about it on the.
to exhaustion.
Okay, we talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I should keep a list of things that we've talked about. But what else happened today? One of the Supreme Court justices retired, meaning that Trump will get to pick another Supreme Court justice, which is bad because then there will be 6 conservative judges, meaning that they could overturn abortion. Theoretically, they could overturn gay marriage if they wanted to. So yeah, lots of bad stuff could potentially be coming down the pipeline. Don't know what's going to happen. we'll have to see. But stock up on your abortions while you can.
Stock up on your abortions.
Like they're a usable, consumable item.
Yeah, go to your local CVS.
Get all the stim packs you can.
Clean the shelves.
So
once
they're
outlawed,
Planned Parenthood.
Not even just Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood is just one of the providers of abortions and other medical services. But like regular doctors' offices and other clinics also do abortions. So,
stupid.
Like literally would just. I think what would happen is they wouldn't become outright illegal unless the way the case was resolved like makes it that way, which I highly doubt. But if they overturn Roe v. Wade, which is the thing that makes abortion legal right now, it would make it so that it's up to the states to make abortion legal or not. And obviously there's tons of states that are super red and are like, abortion is the devil and we need to stop that. So there would obviously be at least like half the country where you couldn't get an abortion, and you probably would also have limited access to other contraceptives and shit. So
do you ever think about how like we sort of in movies and we talk about the human race as if it's this advanced like super species, and then you find places that are just so bumfuck and stupid that it just drags all of humanity down with it. What 100%. A fucking waste of space. Anyway, to change the subject off of abortion and sadness, I was at a party and someone came up to me and they said, yeah, I know, and they said, so you're a model, right? And I was like, sometimes.
You model floors, as we've said.
I do, yeah. I design them and make them. And she was just like, that's so cool. And she sort of gave me her whole spiel about like, oh, I want to do this. And I've always like wanted to be a model because I know I can make a lot of money. And I was just like, oh, well, you might be disappointed because most people, when they get into the industry, will probably not make any money. It's pretty typical. It's a crapshoot. It's a gamble, basically. And she was like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, if you wanted to ask someone, you should just do a regular job most of the time to get like a consistent amount, of gainful employment rather than doing that full time. Because she was talking about like, I'm going to sell my car and I'm going to move to New York. And I'm like,
oh, Jesus.
Fucking A. And I was just like, if you want my advice, you probably shouldn't do it. And she was just like, oh, okay. And her tone completely shifted and her face totally... No, I did not. I was very kind about this. Like, I'm bullet pointing it, but I was very like specific and I didn't make it sound bad at all. And then her face went blank, and then I'm gonna send a text. But her face went blank, and then she walked away. And then later on in the night, this dude walks over, taps on my shoulder, and I said, "Yeah, what's up?" And he was like, I almost said her name, but did blank 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 told me that you called her ugly. And I said, no, I didn't. And then he was just like, are you sure? And he was like, sure? I was like, no, I'm not sure. I said something very sarcastic, which probably made him even more mad in the inside. But yeah, he was just like, just stay away from her, okay? And she was crying.
Fuck.
I don't know what I did.
Why'd you call her ugly?
I didn't call her
Patrick,
ugly. Don't do it. Why would you do that?
Patrick, out of all the people I know, you have the most situations where girls think you called them ugly than anyone else.
She was literally talking about giving up her whole life and going to New York and like putting all of her money into an apartment and trying her best to be a model. I didn't mention her looks at all. This was completely objective about like the likelihood of things. I didn't mean don't try anything, you ugly bitch.
Jesus, that's what she heard.
That is what she heard, apparently. Or maybe she was just trying to get this guy to kick my ass because I told her that she shouldn't live out her dreams to her. God. But yeah, he was not happy with me.
From her perspective, you were addressing those issues as like a indirect way to say she shouldn't get into modeling because she's ugly. Now, that's not your fault.
That I'm probably so, comes from a place from insecurity. Gracious that I will tell someone they're ugly, but I'm going to do it in a very roundabout way.
Was this girl? How would you? Was this girl
gorgeous,
model?
Absolutely, yeah, very pretty. She was, she looked like she could do it, but I was still like, it was cautioning her that you shouldn't dive right into the deep end, holding 2 grenades in this kind of industry.
Yeah, it sounds to me like you called her ugly. I don't know.
I barely even do anything with modeling anymore because it's just like, yeah, fuck it.
God damn. I've never I mean, okay. Well, did you get kicked out or something? Or like, are
Of
these
the party?
people?
They weren't the hosts. They were just some stupid idiots.
Oh, so they were just random people there. These aren't
Stupid,
like your
ugly,
usual
stupid.
friends. They're not your usual friends.
No.
Okay.
I didn't know who they were. They just apparently heard from one of my friends that I did that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
my agent's
guess in the
probably going to end up hearing about this and be like, you think modeling is stupid? You son of a bitch.
you ungrateful bitch.
It's kind of stupid.
You're done in this town.
I don't care.
What is the latest in your modeling thing? I thought you were going to Indonesia or whatever.
Indonesia?
Yeah, weren't you going to some...
Yeah, I got an offer to go to Bangkok for like 3 months to do some stuff, but I was like, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'd rather make money doing anything else.
Oh, they wouldn't pay you?
No, it's just like, I mean, you go to shows, and I mean, not shows, but you go to like a casting, which is basically like a bunch of models show up from many agencies, and they go like, all right, I'd like this one and this one and this one, and then everybody leaves except for 3 people, and then you don't get paid.
Damn, that's
typically.
Nice. Okay. You guys
the last agency I visited the last time I was in New York, they said, according to my mother agent, when I got back home, that I sounded really jaded and annoyed. But it was the last agency I saw that day. I was really tired. I was there for 10 hours on my feet all day, walking through the city of garbage.
I mean, yeah, okay. I can see how. I figured you would just sound jaded as a default, but I'm glad you have.
I am pretty jaded. That's pretty much my entire persona.
Yeah. Did you guys see that PUBG sued Fortnite? Well, they're not doing it anymore, but yeah, PUBG sued Fortnite for copying
the company
their idea.
that makes the graphics for PUBG the same as Fortnite?
Yeah, so Epic makes the Unreal Engine as well as Fortnite. And Unreal Engine is basically just like the backbone that you make the game with. And PUBG uses that engine. So, obviously, kind of complicated relationship there when you're suing the maker of the engine that your game runs on.
How's that going to work?
Well,
I think PUBG is kind of on it. I know this. Yaman's probably going to say, no, it's got 8 million players online. But the way I think of it in my head is like people have stopped playing it because it's not in the front of my mind as like the game now anymore. It's Fortnite.
Yeah, I don't see people talking about PUBG nearly as much anymore.
Like all the gameplays I see are of Fortnite.
Yeah. I mean, I went on Twitch the other day to see like, okay, what are people playing these days? And like PUBG is still kind of up there, but Fortnite has way more numbers.
Yeah,
and then for some fucking reason, Round Royale or whatever was the top game on Twitch, which is just another battle royale by it's the same people that make Smite, but they're like just kind of shamelessly making another fucking dumb battle royale game and trying to ride that wave, which is, I guess Fortnite did the same, but I don't know, whatever, leaves a bad taste in my mouth. But yeah,
does?
Yeah, because
how does that surprise you?
Well, that developer specifically, I forget who makes Smite and who makes
Unreal?
They're the same people that basically their whole business model is making copies of popular games. So Smite is basically a spin on League of Legends and Dota and stuff, but with like a unique twist, to be fair. Paladins is basically an Overwatch ripoff. Like, it's insane how much of an Overwatch ripoff Paladins is. You've seen the Donkey video. Yeah, high res. Like, you've seen the Donkey video, right? Where he was, like, playing Paladins, and he was like, oh, this is definitely not Reinhardt. This is definitely not Roadhog. It's hilarious.
Is Dante. And he's got a shield that's completely different to Reinhardt.
And they also made they made Realm Royale now, which is obviously a battle royale clone. And they made fucking, I'm totally blanking, but whatever. They just do a lot of shitty ripoffs, and they're annoying, and I don't like them. But that's just a personal thing.
I said, okay.
Same.
Yeah. But anyways, PUBG dropped their suit against Fortnite.
Shocking.
Because for obvious reasons, it's a bad idea to sue the people that could shut down your game in a minute if they wanted to.
Could they do that though? How does that work? So they probably licensed the rights to use the engine? Is that how that works?
Yes, they do.
And can they take that away whenever?
They cannot, because there's a contract, but I assume there are clauses in the contract for Epic to pull that license. I think suing them is definitely one of them. Seems like a very easy thing to put in there. Like, you cannot sue us, or else we will pull this out from under you, and your game will stop working. So, yeah, not a good idea. But I think the whole grounds of the lawsuit of Fortnite copying PUBG is dumb because you can't really copyright a genre of game. That seems pretty... It's like if fucking the father of horror movies, John Romero, tried to copyright horror or like zombies.
It's been attempted before in similar, like the Fine Bros trying to get reaction videos.
Yeah, and every time it fails spectacularly, and anyone that tries to do it is an idiot.
It's one of those things where it'll happen enough times where people will attempt it enough times where one sort of niche example will get secured. That brand is now like owned by somebody, and then the next bigger one will get it, consumed, and then it just happens more and more until it's just commonplace, like with a lot of things. Where at first it seems like, that's terrible, that could never happen, but then later down the year it's just like, oh, did you hear that Apple has copyrighted the idea of a touchscreen or whatever? I know that'll never happen in a million years, but
there's actually some interesting examples. Like there was I think
Candy
Nintendo
Crush.
or someone had the patent. Oh yeah, Candy Crush did do some shit. Nintendo or someone had the patent to play mini games during loading screens, right? And I think that was only on Nintendo games for years. And that just so they had exclusive ownership over that idea. So no other games could do that for years until recently. And I think Candy Crush, as you mentioned, Yaman, also tried to. They did try to.
The word candy. They tried to copyright the word candy. I can't remember what the terms were, but like in anything that had to do with games.
Yeah.
Just the word candy.
I think they also tried to copyright like the type of game they are, that like puzzler thing.
Okay.
Because
I wouldn't be surprised.
Which is bullshit because Candy Crush is just a ripoff of Peggle.
Bejeweled.
Or Bejeweled, yeah.
That's it, yeah.
And so many different games. Every fucking mobile game just has a cheap clone of Bejeweled with like some property attached to it. Like, what?
This fucking art is amazing.
Yeah, it's cool,
it's
right?
so good. All the little details. There's an AJR poster.
I know. It's so many details.
Miriamu.
Yeah, she also did some other stuff that we posted on the Dudes account.
Oh, she's the one that drew that.
It's so good.
There's a lot.
There's so many little details. There's like Deadpool. Yeah. There's an AJR poster. Yeah. There's a baking guide.
Yeah.
There's even porn on your computer monitor. Wow.
I know. That's great.
It's detail accurate.
She said that it was like, I don't even know what exactly. I don't have it in my hand, but like she was like, "Oh, it robbed my motivation, so I didn't finish it." But it seems pretty fucking finished to me.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't see what else would you fucking add to this, but I mean, we'll talk about this later, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Miriam sent us a couple of things. She made also a sort of comic thing based on something we said in the Infinity War podcast.
That's good. I like that.
I'm hilarious.
We haven't gotten fan art in a while, so I'm glad we got that shit.
I get fan art all the time.
Eat a dick.
Really? You get fan art a lot, Patrick, huh?
I ran out.
Do you think you're special in any way? Do you think that makes you a better person?
No, I don't think anybody's special. I think we're all just a cluster of experiences, and that is laid on top of genuinely. I don't think anyone's special.
You sound like a fucking nihilist.
Sad sack of shit.
People say that about me, but I go like, I hate people who describe themselves that way because they're usually really annoying. So I'm gonna say no, I'm not.
Do you ascribe to like any labels?
I don't like labels.
I know you hate labels, but like, is there a certain label that you can't really argue against? Like,
I can argue against everything, Ben.
Patrick,
I don't know if you've met me.
Patrick, you're a man.
Okay.
So you're not gonna argue against that label.
I just don't care enough.
Okay.
There's got to be a label for people who don't care enough to argue against their labels.
Ooh, meta label.
Fun people, chill people, people that you should hang out with, people that other than Patrick.
You're apathetic. That's the word. Apathetic.
That sounds like I don't care about other people's emotions. Empathetic is the opposite of that.
Apathetic means you don't care about
being able to empathize with someone means you can relate to their emotions and see what they're coming from. Apathetic is the opposite of that.
Well, not necessarily. Apathetic means you don't care about anything. It just means a lack of caring.
Why would that be the opposite of empathetic then?
I mean, because you can also not care about people's emotions. But
yeah, but why does apathetic describe everything including emotions, and empathetic only describe, emotions of other people. You can't be empathetic to a rock.
Bitch, do I have to fucking pull up the Google dictionary on your ass?
Here's the thing that I do all the time, which is saying things with total confidence without any proof to back it up.
Well, that's how you have to. You have to talk with confidence, even if you don't know what you're talking about. Half the time, if you talk with confidence, no one's gonna question you.
Apathetic means showing or feeling no interest, enthusiasm, or concern. There we go.
The British girl who I make food with, she mentioned that.
What a girl!
She's
this is coming out of nowhere.
But,
right.
It's a person I talk about. But she mentioned that she's jealous that I can just confidently say things and roll with the punches. And that was the best compliment I've received in 17
really nice.
years. It felt amazing.
See, I have like brief moments of that where I'm just
She
like...
said it was intimidating. And I was like, no, that's bad. I don't like that.
I have brief moments of that where I'm just like faking it till I make it.
You're getting better at it.
Yeah.
You used to not be so good on your feet, but now you're much better because we've been around you and we're great.
Honestly, if you just act like you know what the fuck is going on and that you're in total control of the situation, you'll be good to go.
The loudest monkey is the best monkey.
I wouldn't even say the loudest, but
yeah, I don't know if that's.
I don't think that really works in this situation at all. Often the loudest is usually the dumbest, in my experience.
It's an old expression, but you guys are welcome to.
What are you, like fucking 90 years old?
Yes.
Do you have a particular favorite expression? Something that you actually like abide by?
On to the next one.
Shut up! I hate you.
That's horrible. Let's move on.
That sounds kind of depressing.
Oh! It's not a favorite expression, but one of my favorite quotes is Muhammad Ali said,
"Oh, it's so good."
It was so good. What was it?
Don't fuck it up.
No,
Don't
hang on.
Don't
he
fuck
didn't
it up.
say don't
I
fuck
wrestled.
it up 3 times.
Shut up. He didn't say don't fuck it up. His coach said that to him when he was going to fight Joe Frazier. He whispered into his ears like, "Don't fuck this up."
Motivational words of wisdom.
Don't fuck it up.
It's on every motivational poster across the country.
I wrestled with an alligator. I tussled with a whale. I handcuffed lightning and threw thunder in jail. That's one of the best, most sweet tool. That whole speech he gives when he was like, "I will show you how great I am."
That sounds like it's a lyric, but it's a good lyric.
It just makes him sound like a god.
Yeah.
What's the other one? There was another one that you told me, Patrick.
Which one?
Him.
Oh, it was maybe even the same speech.
Punch like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
I punched, I beat up a cinder block, injured a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick.
That one.
That one's also in the same
He really
speech.
sounds like a rapper.
He does. He's got fucking bars.
This guy's just rapping now. He's not.
Muhammad Ali's one of the coolest people to ever fucking live. That guy was fucking awesome. He was just like, you guys don't think that I can do this. I know. And all you're screaming all these racial fucking awful things at me. And I'm going to go out there and kick the shit out of anybody that is in my way. And that was his whole thing. And he was smart and he was charming. Oh, man. That guy was fucking cool.
Muhammad Ali versus Conor McGregor. Who would win?
That's not. Shut up, fucking shitty, stupid. If you can't bring any guardrails to the fight, then it's fucking fair.
There's no boxing. It's just guardrails only. You have to pick up guardrails.
I like to think that there's a shred of dignity left in Conor McGregor to just say, "I would lose that fight." But I know that he wouldn't. He would be like, "I could get behind him and punch him in his big head."
I feel like Floyd Mayweather would unabashedly be like, I beat the shit out of that motherfucker. Like, just totally.
Who, Floyd Mayweather?
Floyd Mayweather would say that, yeah.
Okay.
100%. Floyd Mayweather is the most arrogant.
They're both similar in terms of how they box.
Oh, I'm not saying he would. I'm just saying he would say that he could. Like, I hate Floyd Mayweather.
It's just that whether or not you're, like, especially with those two examples, maybe if you have Floyd Mayweather sitting on top of Conor McGregor's shoulders, they could maybe take him. But they're just so significantly smaller. I think Muhammad Ali was like 6'2", and he had like 300 some pounds or something like that by the end of his career. So yeah, I don't think that would work.
What about? These are totally different fighting styles, so this maybe is not fair at all. But what about Muhammad Ali versus like Jet Li?
Again, people bring up like movie fighters. I know Jet Li's an actual like MMA like martial artist, but
yeah,
same with Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee's a movie fighter. He was cool as fucking shit, and also in the same category of saying like wicked, awesome things like "be like water, water can flow, but it also like crash." Something like that. That's also dope.
I mean,
and people will fucking tear me to shreds because they said that Bruce Lee probably can't fight better than most real fighters.
I don't know, dude. I actually don't know much about fighters. I just like to do hypothetical matchups and
sound like Joe Rogan, except Joe Rogan probably knows a little bit more.
Would Joe Rogan be able to beat Muhammad Ali?
And what kind of fight?
Straight up boxing.
It's so weird. You never really know because it's just I've noticed that like people who get knocked out, like you'll never know. Like Conor McGregor could be facing some person who looks like a human muscle, but then he hits him with that weird left that knocks people out instantly the moment they touch it. It's so annoying to watch because it's like you're watching someone that you think is great walk into the ring, and then he has this stupid overpowered Infinity Gauntlet left.
They gotta nerf his left.
They gotta
It's fucking bullshit.
Devs, please. Epic, please patch.
It doesn't make sense. It's like annoying.
No, it doesn't. I don't think there's anyone I could really take on.
It's hard to.
There's
compare.
no one professionally I could take on in the ring. Obviously.
What?
I think no one professionally I could take on in the ring. Obviously, because I know next shit about.
Who's the fucking
boxing.
idiot who went from WWE to UFC?
CM Punk.
Yep, you kicked the shit out of him.
He had an embarrassing first fight, and he's doing another one. Or I don't know if he already has.
He did a couple.
I think he already has. He did a second one and.
Wait. Explain to me who and what did
CM Punk is a personality on WWE, and then he decided to be an UFC fighter.
WWE fighter.
So he went from fake fighting to real fighting.
Yeah.
That didn't work out.
To real fake fighting.
You know,
there was like a lot of hype around his first fight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He got crushed.
The shit kicked out of him.
You know, for the longest time, I didn't realize that. At least as a little kid, I didn't realize that like wrestling, like WWE, was fake or in any way. Because it always like looked real. It always looked like they were beating the shit out of each other.
Especially
maybe I was the only one in the world, but I thought that shit was fucking stupid from the jump. Like everyone in my grade loved that stuff.
Oh, I thought it was stupid, but I didn't think it was fake. I was like, why are these grown-ass men oiling themselves up and wearing ridiculous outfits to like beat the shit out of each other?
And why is it turning me on?
You learned a lot.
You learn a lot about yourself watching wrestling as a young folk. You know, you might feel a little something. You might feel the urge to pick up the gloves, or you might feel the urge to change your jeans. So,
Ronda Rousey did the opposite of CM Punk, and she went from UFC to WWE. Now she's her own thing.
Now she's in the Expendables, and she's.
Why do you bring that up every time the Ronda? Is that the only thing you know about Ronda Rousey?
Yes. She's in the Expendables.
It's on your fucking.
It's the only thing you need to know about Ronda.
Use written on your hands.
Really,
like,
it's like her only claim to fame these days. Honestly, she's not doing much else.
I would say her claim to fame is being on the tail end of quite a number of ass kickings, which I really enjoy watching.
She had a streak there. Wait, speaking of the Expendables, did you guys hear about that Terry Crews 50 Cent shit?
Beef?
Yeah, the beef.
No.
Okay.
Was it about when he was like 50 Cent was talking about how Terry Crews was sexually assaulted, like how he didn't
Why didn't you fight
stop
back?
him?
Yeah. So Terry Crews basically went in front of the Senate to testify about how, you know, sexual assault's a real issue, even for big guys like me. And Terry Crews is an amazing human being who's wholesome and pure. And he was like, you know, these are the realities for tons of people, and this is my experience. And then 50 posts on Insta this dumbass joke.
Fucking stupid.
Yeah, just being like, bro, what do you mean you like froze up and shit? Like, what? Basically just like calling him a pussy bitch and whatever for getting felt.
Why would you call Terry Crews a pussy? What?
Yeah, it's beyond me. And then when people start calling him out, being like, hey, 50, you're being an asshole, 50 doubles down and is like, fuck are y'all talking about? It's not my fault, like, whatever. And then he eventually deletes both of his posts. And then Terry, when asked about the situation, and this is the example of Terry Crews being the bigger man and going high, is like, 50 Cent is great. I love his music. Listen to it when I'm at the gym a lot. He's a great guy. I love him. So Terry Crews is a better person than 50 Cent could ever hope to be. And it's sad because I liked 50 Cent in like a weird, ironic way, because 50 Cent Blood in the Sand was a really stupid video game.
Did you see the post with the 50 put up? I'm reading about it now. It said, with Crews back in the news, 50 Cent, they put his real name, born Curtis James Jackson III,
really?
Posted a meme Tuesday on Instagram mocking him. The post showed an image of shirtless Crews superimposed with the words, I got raped and my wife just watched, next to another photo of Crews holding a rose in his mouth that said gym time.
Yikes.
So, yeah.
Did you guys see when asked at that Senate hearing why he didn't fight back? Did you hear his reasoning, his explanation?
No.
Wasn't he like the cops would like whatever?
So he explained that being a black man, he had seen so many people get prodded into violence that led to them being either killed or put in jail, sued, whatever it may be. And he talked about how his wife sort of trained him to never give in to violence when you're being prodded like that. And so he knew that if he were to fight back, it would destroy his chances at a career, possibly destroy his chances at the future that he has.
Also,
so he couldn't.
The specific instance he's talking about, it's not really a fight back situation because the dude walked up to him and grabbed his package and then walked away back into the crowd, and he couldn't really do anything in that moment. You're not prepared to punch anyone that's like right in front of you no matter what. So there's like that moment where you just sort of have to let something happen because you don't know what they're doing, and then you are sexually assaulted, and then you can't do anything.
And then you realize it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you take it in for a second.
That's what just happened.
Yeah.
Dude, that's like makes
that's
me
horrible.
so mad.
It is.
Like
that's horrible.
If that shit can happen to Terry Crews, like that's just ridiculous. And he can't even do anything about it, which is the most insane thing to me in the world. Like I think everyone likes to think that if that happened to them, they'd like pop that guy in the jaw real quick. But like when you're in a situation like that, especially in that kind of setting where your career is also on the line and it just comes out of nowhere, I think everyone would just like be like, what the fuck is happening? And then it's over before you even realize what's happening.
So he said that he went and he spoke to the agency. He was furious, and he went and spoke to the agency, and they told him this and that. They told him, we're furious too, and you're right, this should never happen, and we will do everything in our power to take care of it.
We'll talk to him.
And then nothing happened.
Yeah.
He explained that just nothing happened.
Nothing.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
And I mean, that's why I'm glad this Me Too stuff is happening. And I know some people are like, whatever happened to innocent before guilty? And I'm just like, this is not that. Shut the fuck up. Because for too long, people have been just getting away with shit, and now they're not. So I'm all for that. And from what I know, I don't think there's been like a really big, at least a big famous example of someone being falsely accused under the whole Me Too thing. Because usually when it's happening under this, there's a bunch of other people that come out and they're like, oh, yep, that happened to me too. That happened to me too. And then that person's whole career is destroyed because it's like, oh, yeah, you were a huge piece of shit all the time. And a bunch of people were just keeping it under wraps because they were afraid that you would hurt them in some way. But now tables have turned. You're a piece of shit. And you're going down.
And people are fucking talking about like, oh, anybody can say anything and instantly they'll lose their job. It's not about like instantly believing someone no matter what. It's giving them a voice that they can say, like making them comfortable in a situation.
Hearing them
out. Listening to them rather than just saying, sure, that happened. Yeah, I'm sure that happened. Bye.
Dude, the Chris Hardwick stuff about that was just awful. There were, how are there even that many Chris Hardwick fans out there? Like Talking Dead, all that shit. So annoying. Who cares? It's not even that funny. But all these people were like, hashtag I stand with Chris or whatever. And I was like, the Soup has been on TV for years. Like, Talking Dead is awful. Like, why don't you take the time to like listen to what this woman is saying? And it's the same thing we talked about with Excess Tentacion, where we're like, people feel obligated and attached to
it's weird.
loyalty. This person that they enjoy for one reason or another, and they refuse to hear anything bad about them. So they like just dig down and plant themselves, and they're like, nope, he didn't do that to that person.
With that, though, there was also quite a number of people saying, I'm glad he got murdered, which is bad. That is stuff that I can agree with. Yeah, don't say that. But it was mostly like the people defending him were mostly talking about like, oh no, he was troubled or whatever.
Yeah, there's a very in X's case, there was a super fine line to walk. It's not even that super, but like, you don't celebrate someone's death, but also dismissing his actions as mistakes or he was young,
personal demons
or whatever, are really just brushing that off and doing a total disservice to the people here. So yeah. Anyways, I don't even remember.
Mega Serious 50th podcast.
Oh, fuck. It is a 50th. We never do anything special for these, but at the same time, I feel like we shouldn't, because then every time there's a special anniversary or something, people are gonna be like, we didn't do anything special, so I guess we don't matter.
The specialty is that we did it.
Specialty is that the specialty is honestly Yaman. We got Yaman back. That was a point of contention.
So many fucking people talking about you.
They have a gun to my head.
Yeah, there's literally there's that basement you're in is actually a saw trap. If you
The
get
door
up,
is locked.
if you get up before the recording is done, a shotgun is gonna come out of the closet and blast your brains out.
Just a shotgun, not as someone holding it, just like a transformer.
Well,
It's
if
like
you
a-
want to
it's
make
like
an
a-
automated trap,
It's an Autobot. It's called the shotgun.
It's like a home.
There's
It's like a Home
Optimus
Alone
Prime,
trap.
there's Bumblebee, and then there's a 12-gauge shotgun.
it's just a 12-gauge shotgun with like legs that can also turn into wheels. That can also turn into like,
That,
wings.
Like, you know how like those cartoons, they had like the pack of teenagers that would like, yeah, Optimus, go get him, and they would sometimes be in danger. So it was just a plot device. What if there was like one of them who was like twisted and weird, and he was just like, man, I wish I could get in one of the cars, but I don't have my license, but I do have my gun license. And the 12-gauge shotgun says, oh, I think I have the exact idea, and he turns into like a shotgun or something like that.
If someone wants to draw that 12-gauge shotgun that's also a Transformer, please do. I'd love to see that visual. Okay, we have a lot of fan stuff to go through this week, especially
what?
It's 15 minutes in, and we have a lot of stuff to go
50.
through. Yeah.
Yeah, but you want to go through everything every time we get something. Let's wipe everything
good.
clean.
Okay, let's start with. I'm gonna start with the podcast review we got.
Oh
It's
yeah,
actually
I
pretty
love
funny.
that. I love that.
So, as you guys know, we've been climbing the iTunes charts. We're at 89
We're
ratings
the top
right now.
of the charts. We're the best.
Still
podcast
5
ever.
stars, but we recently got our first genuinely bad review. This is from
From a 50-year-old man.
Manic Boy. Their username is like they're 13, but the way they write it, it seems like they're 50. There's better things to fall asleep to is the subject line. Basing this review on my opinion of the podcast after listening to episodes 1 and 2 and 46 through 49. It's not good. Not in the slightest. One of the guys is 20, the other is 21. They are children.
I guess Yaman doesn't exist.
In those episodes, I did.
Yeah. So entitled sounding, so self-righteous.
Mm-hmm.
Their opinion is the only one that matters, and they're so adamant about it, especially Patrick, the younger one. What a surprise.
The younger one, like I'm like a 9-year-old.
Honestly, shouldn't people actually go to school, learn something about the real world, and mature a little bit before being allowed to have a podcast?
Allowed? I didn't get a license for this.
I just wanna know why he thinks school is where you learn about the real
Also,
world.
learn how to be a podcaster.
School is where you
school.
go to be allowed to have a podcast.
I did go to school.
Get my degree in podcasting. I'd respect two 25-plus-year-olds that are completely full of themselves much more than these two kids. I roll.
What? You'd
Go
wait,
listen
you'd
to-
respect two 25-year-olds that were full of
Yeah.
themselves?
Yeah. Go listen to the Stuff You Should Know podcast if you want to be bored to death and perhaps even learn a little. With Prude dudes, it's a lose-lose.
What the He's like a 50s
right, and-
reviewer.
And with that, we are ending the podcast.
It's been a great run, you guys. But Manic Boys canceled us. It's over.
It's one in what? How many reviews do we have?
It's 1 out of 89.
Wow. Scathing.
So, that's it. Our careers are over. We have to leave the podcast.
What
in
did I say
shame.
after you sent me that in the chat? I was really mad.
Oh
about
my
it.
god, it was so good. Oh, that was so funny.
I
Hang
was
on.
really, really
Find
angry.
it so I don't butcher
on.
it. Oh man, that was fucking.
It was something
funny.
about his
Sure.
marriage.
Oh, I found it. You were like, I'm sorry she left you and took the kids, bud.
So good. It was
Don't take it out on us.
Yeah, I did not appreciate that.
Patrick, you said you can bet you can think of an opinion that we said that made him mad, but I
It's
can't
mostly
think
just
of,
I'm imagining he's like a very right-wing dude.
yeah,
And
like
he thinks we're like, greedy millennials or whatever.
socialists.
Yeah.
100%. But I love that. That was, even though that's
This
the worst
fucking
review we've gotten.
40-year-old who probably calls into his 98.7 country music station every 5 years. It's like, yeah, I'm calling about the free Dierks Bentley concert tickets. Also, is there coupons to Long John Silver's left?
What's
I
that?
love how. Go ahead.
What's that religious radio station? Not a lecture, just a thought.
Yeah, it's not a sermon, just a thought. It's not a station. It's just a part of a thing that they do. What were you saying, Jan?
I was just gonna say it's funny how he really notices the the times we talk about certain like politics or whatnot in between the dick jokes and things that were like very self-righteous.
It's always very serious on this podcast.
God. So thank you for that. What I'm concerned about is that this person is not actually as old as we think they are.
It doesn't seem like
because
it,
their
but
username is Manic Boy, BOII. So it seems
eye
like,
roll.
yeah, eye roll seems like they have some notion of slang or whatever. So that indicates that they're younger.
If
but
he
at the same
hated
time,
us so much, why did he give us 2? Why not 0 stars?
Yeah, wait. I'd like to see what he thought the
What did he
redeeming quality of the podcast was.
He liked it when
Yeah.
Yaman was on, even though he didn't listen.
I really hope he's listening to this still, because I'd love for him to respond again.
Maybe that was his strategy, just to get us to read it.
Maybe shoot us an email and not put another review in.
I was
If
thinking
you're gonna do that.
I was thinking that this also might be someone trying to bait us.
That's
But
what I
also,
thought,
like,
yeah.
this isn't like a
It's entertaining,
super.
though.
This isn't a super baity review. Like, it's not like outlandish. It sounds like a pretty genuine one.
Well, it would be baity anyway if you're the first review in 87 or whatever that is bad.
Yeah.
You're gonna get attention anyway.
Yeah.
Here's
So,
the attention
anyway,
you ordered.
Here's the attention, hot and ready for you. All right, this email is from Shannon. Hey dudes, after listening to number 49, I got encouraged and am now writing an email. Probably not an exciting one because I too listen to the podcast baked as a mug. What is with everyone listening to our podcast when they're high?
What's your
I
problem?
feel like we reach a certain demographic, but
You're racist.
I just wanted to say I thoroughly enjoyed seeing Patrick not read a fan email due to it being too personal. It was a humane and thoughtful thinking. It was humane and thoughtful thing that kind of gave me hope for my generation because I'm also 20, I roll, this year, and life can be chaotic and scary.
Thank you. I'm a god.
Shut up.
Also, I was surprised that Patrick was an extrovert because I'm INFJ, and based on, in general, I can barely read English, in general outlook on society and people, I was really shocked. I miss Yaman too. Anyway, just wanted to say hi and thank you and keep doing what you do and whatever makes you happy. I'm sure y'all would be rad to hang out with. Thank you
sweet.
for the email, Shannon.
Thank you for
Thank
complimenting
you.
me.
You were a lovely person, and even though you stroked Patrick's ego a little too much for my liking.
Shut up. I'm gonna read this one. This is from Eugenia something, and it says, "Dudes, love the episode this week, but I missed Yaman. Hashtag bring Yaman back. He's back. Your comments about XXXTentacion and how many people say like, oh well, I gotta be loyal to him or whatever. The way they've been with people like Kevin Spacey reminded me of a Bo Burnham bit that I've always really liked. I can't remember it verbatim, but what he basically says is a lot of comedians, artists, actors, etc. are always talking about how loyal their fan base is. And guess what? I don't fucking want that. If I stop being funny or I say or do something wrong, fucking dump me. And I've always found that to be an admirable point of view and one that more creators should probably take on. Just my 2 cents on this whole ordeal. Also a suggestion. I know y'all were talking about things to do on the YouTube channel, and I was wondering if you wanted to do some sort of video game thing, and it would be worthwhile. I'm not a huge gamer, but your talks about even the most obscure, unknown to me bits of gaming news are always entertaining, and I think if you wanted to do a game of Rainbow or something, that'd be cool. Just a thought. As well, as always, keep it real, you wonderful lads. It's a fantastic almost year, and I'm so happy that you have been there for all the growth and development of the podcast. Monty.
Thank you, Monty.
That was nice.
Sweet.
Thank you.
I don't think we would do like a gaming. Obviously, we wouldn't turn into a gaming channel because that's not really what people are interested in. But I think if it was something gaming related that we were to do, it would turn into something more donkey related, where it's just kind of like a montage of like funny clips of us, right? Like, because the whole gameplay commentary and like streaming gameplay, talking over it things is so fucking boring, in my opinion.
That's you, though. That's just you.
Well, I don't know. Do you guys? I feel like that's not something we would do, though, right? Like a 20-minute video of us
in theory,
playing
I've
Rainbow.
thought about it. That'd be fun, but I don't think it would be solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had an idea, and I didn't want to bring it up on the podcast in case we don't do it, but something like on Xbox, you can broadcast to Twitch, and then I can upload it to YouTube, so we can just have one of our gaming sessions and sort of record the whole, like the Xbox will record the whole thing.
Cut it.
And if we find not just cut the whole thing, if there's a conversation that we found particularly interesting or funny, we could cut just that bit and put it up as a YouTube video, possibly something along those lines. Like it would record for us. It would record our voices and one of our screens, whoever's broadcasting.
That would be the most casual version of us that you could find.
Yeah.
It'd be very, because I feel like sometimes we have conversations where I'm like, man, this is really funny, and I wish we could have something like this during the podcast, but it's just.
I feel like that could work actually.
It'd be the easy. I like the idea because it's so easy.
Yeah.
It's so like we just do what we normally do, and it'll be recording, and then we snip a bit that we found hilarious.
Whereas this takes scheduling and effort.
Interesting. Yeah, rather than like we have to be funny. It's just like in this 2 or 3 hours that we're gonna be on Xbox, I'm sure we'll get a bit that's funny.
Yeah. Patrick, didn't you buy a capture card or something?
I did.
Do you still have it?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the Xbox solution would still be simpler, but also since you have that on hand, not sure what kind of audio.
I don't know how we would get the audio.
I think. Well, no. I'm pretty sure you can have it play through HDMI or whatever. You can have it play through your regular speakers, like game chat and stuff. But the only problem actually then would be getting your own voice. Actually, that's what would be missing. Is that I don't think it would actually be recording Patrick's voice. So I think your solution still holds.
It would.
Yaman.
What?
You think it would record?
Elgato?
Yeah.
No, it records your voice. It depends on what you want the input to be. It can be in your laptop as well.
Oh, okay. I guess you know more about it than me, but
yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll do something casual one of these days. I don't really want to commit to anything
because more
because
free time.
Whatever, but I like Yaman's idea of just kind of like taking one of our regular gaming sessions and turning it into something. That seems
because it's literally just in the background. Like I could almost do it without you guys knowing that I was recording.
I would almost. No, I wouldn't prefer that because there's some things that I say that shouldn't be recorded.
Well, I could also. Oh yeah, well it would be broadcast.
Yeah. Would it be broadcast live? Can't you just?
It would be broadcast live, and it's a very like I'm not using it the way it's meant to be used. Like I wouldn't be looking at the chat and talking to people like I'm actually streaming. It would be recording, and then once I stop recording, there's an option to archive the stream and then upload it to YouTube. And I can upload it as a private video, save it, download it, clip it, and then we could put it up on the
channel. Can't we like live stream it to Mixer instead of Twitch so no one will watch it?
I was literally about to say I've never used Mixer. I don't know anyone that does, so I don't know how it works. But I know Twitch, it's as easy as start broadcast, add party's audio.
Because I feel like if we did that with a channel that no one knew existed, it'd be okay.
No, eventually someone would see it.
We could just make a new channel.
Prude channel?
Prude on Twitch.
No, it wouldn't have to. No, then people would find it. We could literally name it anything.
No, but it would be too obvious. They're smart enough to be like, no, fuck, I can't talk.
What do you mean?
What?
What do you mean it'd be too obvious?
Being sarcastic.
How would that be? Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I feel like if anyone had to stream though, it'd be Yaman because he's the best out of all of us. So
he's the only person who's ever done it.
It wouldn't be a stream though. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
it wouldn't be a stream.
Why couldn't it be a stream? You know,
because then that's effort. That's the reason I'm.
It would take away from the conversation.
It would take away from the conversation completely. I'm telling you, the reason I like this is because it would be exactly like our normal.
Effortless though.
Normal night.
Yeah. Except
it's recording like almost in the background. Like I don't have to think about it.
You're right. Okay, I see that. So yeah, maybe we'll do that in the future.
Let us know if you guys would be interested in that.
Yeah.
Here's one from Plastic Bag Productions. Fuck you, Pena. Hey guys, I really liked your most recent podcast. It was almost the exact same thing that I said about X. It was the exact same thing. Whatever. Nice podcast, and I'm planning on listening to more. I wanted to start doing podcasts, and I don't know how to. So can you guys please help me out with maybe letting me listen into one of your live podcasts, or I could be in one of your podcasts and talk about the topics you guys are talking about. Respond if you can, and thanks for reading.
All right, Patrick, go ahead and give him the address and bring him a chair down with me here.
We will send you an envoy with a banner.
Live podcast. I wonder what they mean by that. Do they mean like live recording?
I think
like us recording it.
Yeah.
Okay. But no, he said maybe letting me listen into one of your live podcasts.
Yeah, so
we
like
don't
he can hear us but not be recording.
That's weird.
Or she. I didn't.
She. Whoever you are, Plastic Bag.
Plastic bag man.
Do you ever feel?
I'm glad that you've already
like a
secured
plastic
the
bag?
name for the production company named after a plastic bag. People have been vying for that for years. That's a very sweet thing to ask, but we will record by ourselves for now.
I don't even know. We barely know how to record in the same room together. Much less
if we added a fourth, we might break the internet.
Yeah.
Everything would fall apart.
Yeah.
Flames and just man.
If you want to start doing podcasts, though, there's plenty of YouTube tutorials, obviously, and yeah, just start with the SoundCloud. Honestly, you can just start with the free SoundCloud account. There.
I'm gonna tell you what I told the girl who wanted to model. I'm gonna be honest with you.
You're an ugly.
Ugly.
Honestly, this industry is full of people who will hate you. But yeah, it was very sweet. But no thanks. Goodbye.
On to the next one.
Shut up. Peggy, do you want to read this one? From Zoe.
Hey, Prude dudes, my name is Zoe, and I'm a big fan of your podcast. I really like that you guys talk about casual and serious topics like guns and America and such,
I'm sad that this
without
is serious
making the
now.
podcast sad and pessimistic, which is very cool. Your personalities complement each other so well, and it shows. I was wondering if you have any advice or tips on how to get through high school. I'm in high school right now, and how your high school experience has changed the way you see and do things in life. Keep being hilarious and awesome, and have a great day. Thank you, Zoe. I feel like we've talked about this a little
How
bit.
to get through
before.
high school?
A gun.
And also, like, how has high school, like, changed you? Basically, I got through high school by snorting coke every day in the mirror. Really helped. I'd also self-medicate with booze and weed in the afternoons. But most of the time, it was all right.
This is hilarious. Anyway, but yeah, you should, Jeff, definitely not care so much.
Yeah, if
if
I were going to say something serious, it would be something
Not
that
be a fucking
I think I might have already
jokester like Benya.
Yeah, I think I've already said this on a podcast, but like somebody told me that like everything that seems like it matters in high school ceases to matter the moment you graduate. Everything except for like your grades.
Yeah.
Nothing else
100%.
matters. Like all like the clothes,
everyone
and the
after you
music,
leave.
and everything you like that people make seem important. Was that even English? It's not. As soon as you graduate,
It's not English.
Everything is
right.
Every relationship and every interaction is so vital to your existence,
Everything.
but it's not.
It's not. It's not at all.
Those people are so
cut
boring.
contact, lawyer up, hit the gym.
Okay.
What our man did.
All right.
But yeah, I would actually say if the thing I could tell my high school self is definitely just care less. Care less about all the dumb shit that you were like preoccupied with.
That doesn't mean
and
drop out of high
scared
school.
about. Don't drop out. Do get good grades because that's the one thing that actually will
That's
impact
really
your life.
like the one
That's the
thing
one
you should
thing.
get out of high school
Yeah.
is good grades.
Because it's school.
Nothing else matters.
But if you got some like friend relationship, whatever drama, doesn't matter. Don't care. People will not care in like a few months or a year or 2 years whenever you graduate.
If that.
Doesn't matter. Also, carrying yourself like you don't care also kind of gives you more confidence. So if people try to fuck with you, for example, just let it like wash over you. You're like, okay, whatever. Like, you guys really should have something better to do, but I'm gonna go on about my life now because I don't care. Like, that's all you really gotta do, you know?
Think about the people that you're annoyed by or whatever. I don't mean this person hasn't said that they have a lot of demons, but I'm assuming everybody does. Think about those people and just have it solid in your mind that you will not see them after the next 2 years.
They just won't
don't
exist in your
anymore.
life.
So don't invest your time or your emotions or your suffering into their, whole world.
Yeah. And if people love to fuck with you or something, or if people like, I don't know, exists to get drama or reaction out of you, if you don't give them a reaction, if you basically just stonewall them and are completely indifferent, they will get bored and you will not care. They will not care about you or whatever. Like,
and it's
they'll
hard.
just move on.
It's hard to not give them that because people in that situation. I don't know why high school specifically, but they are like physicians when it comes to pushing your buttons, and they will get a rise out of you. Try not to though. Try your very best because you're giving them what they want.
Terry Crews can control himself, so can you.
In a situation where he would have been totally right to not.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about he wanted to rip the steering wheel off of his car when he got in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, good email, Zoe. Quality
Good
email.
email.
10 out of 10.
Oh, I was a little also. The people that do matter, the people that actually care about you, they may become distant like physically distant because of college, but the ones that really matter will stay in your life.
Real shit.
That's just a little tidbit.
I want to switch over to fan mail. I want to go over this Yaman art we brought up earlier. This is from, and we're going to post this on the Instagram, I'm sure, if not tonight, then tomorrow, but definitely by the time this is up. This is from Miriam Moo, who also just recently did the fan art we posted of the Infinity War conversation we had, where if Bucky was disappearing, shouldn't his arm have fallen off too? Which I think is hilarious. But this is basically, I'm not sure what this image is, really. It is an alien looking into your brain, which I think is the first thing I don't understand.
No, I think it's like he's the suit or whatever, and the alien is him.
Yeah, I am the alien.
Oh, Yaman, you're the alien. What the fuck?
Because we said that, remember?
Oh,
that was
right.
like the joke.
Oh,
I wasn't here sometimes.
It's a kind of an almost artistic, poetic thing to say as well.
Yeah. Honestly, this is like pretty beautiful.
It's
like,
really genuine.
The more I look at it, the
so
more
many details.
I notice.
That's exactly like at first glance, it's like, oh, that's a neat picture, and then you really start looking at everything. Look at the wood floor.
That's so good.
Oh wait,
look
yeah,
at the wood fucking.
Damn,
floor.
I didn't even realize the floor, like all the individual fucking lines to make it like hardwood, like took forever. And also, like I just noticed that your scalp is on the table.
Yeah.
Like the lid to your head, basically.
Yeah.
The little book in the left-hand corner says Baking 101, Cakes and Brownies.
There's a PUBG helmet. There's.
Oh, that's what that is.
Let's see. Yeah,
God damn.
There's an AJR poster in the top right.
Favorite band?
Deadpool poster.
That's what that is.
Yeah,
Dude,
she literally. That's the album.
Dude,
that's like the album
she fucking
cover.
like made a biography in one fucking
crazy.
picture. That's crazy.
Oh, there's the PUBG helmet.
Yes. Yeah, I just said that.
I wasn't
Thanks
looking.
For listening.
There's also the Illuminati thing in the top right corner. The clock thing is from a cartoon that I don't remember. Gravity Falls. She probably is just a fan of that.
Oh, I fuck with Gravity Falls. That's a good show.
Yeah. So thank you very much for that.
The Ramen Yaman, obviously. This is great. I love this shit. And your high top Converse.
That's
sneakers.
so sweet. Like just how much, not even just like the effort put into the drawing, but the effort to think of all the things that like you would have in a room. Like the AJR poster, everything. Just to know that you're a fan of certain things.
Yeah, like this is so nice, and thank you so much. Not to speak for Yaman, but this is like really nice. So
I don't think he's gonna disagree.
Yeah, I mean, I said thank you. I also responded.
No, Yaman's probably just gonna call her ugly and tell her to not go into modeling.
I'm not Patrick.
Shut up.
And yeah, as I mentioned before, the other thing we got was also from Miri Moo, which is hilarious. A nice little funny sketch of a situation we brought up before. Let me see if we have any other reviews that I missed. Oh yeah, there's this is one that's from Hollow Wolf Mother, Canine approved. Truly revolutionary. The dudes managed to play a high-frequency tone inaudible to humans in each episode. So not only do I enjoy the podcast, my dog does too. Guaranteed tail wagging every time. I like to think that's true. I really like to appeal to an audience of dogs. Like, I hope that if no one listened to our podcasts, that dogs would still listen to our podcast. Because as long as I'm making them happy, everything's all right. That lifts my soul a little bit, honestly.
I'm checking the YouTube comments now. A couple that are really interesting. One of a person said, I only listen to this here on YouTube. I just can't get into using podcasts the normal way. So I'm glad that we started uploading there. Thanks, Yaman. Yeah. And there was another person that said, I love these podcasts, and I'm glad to be able to get the first comment, but he did not get the first comment.
Oh, don't tell him that.
He's stupid. One person, Christy, said, you started talking about bagels, and I made some bagels from scratch yesterday. I usually just eat mine hot with some cream cheese. People get so weird about bagels, though. They fucking do. That whole conversation was all about bagels.
Yeah, people are way too fucking possessive about their bagels. It's a lot.
Holy shit, this one's really long. Shall we read it?
Which one?
You're the only one that can see it.
Oh, yeah. This one is.
It's from D2007ization. I didn't think you'd read my comment out loud. Now I'm flustered, flattered, and embarrassed. Thank you. I'm sorry it was so incoherent. In my defense, I learned English by being abroad for 4 years. You don't have to read the paragraphs below. I'm just sort of opinion dumped.
Now we're gonna definitely read them.
Okay, so anyways, my physics professor said that the universe will just continue expanding and die its heath deaths. IOW, no big crunch for us. I'm really skeptical about aliens because of the light barrier. Their hello, is anyone there signals should have reached us long before the aliens reached us. Their methods of travel, no matter how advanced, would be much slower. I feel like we have detected them. Then they'd need to survive in our atmosphere after surviving decades or even centuries of cosmic radiation getting to us, coupled with the fact that the intelligent life evolving on Earth was just pure dumb luck. So why would it evolve elsewhere within time window in which humans exist? I'm skeptical. And sure, the government might fear a panic, but firstly, it'd need to do some developed nations government. Need to be some developed nations government. Then nobody would be allowed to say anything about it ever. No new staff member, no retiree, maybe nobody who get fired. Instead, we have old army officials who say jet fuel can't melt steel beams. Considering that the U.S. Secret Service loves to play who can control the government, I wouldn't be surprised if the JFK assassination was some sort of ploy for agency power. Wouldn't be the worst thing that they did by a long shot. Haha, shot. Get it? Because he was shot in the head. Jesus Christ. On the other hand, that's not that unrealistic that there'd be some wacko with access to a gun that he shouldn't be allowed to own in the States. I can't say that I like the term white privilege. It's just so vague. I'm not from the U.S., so maybe I don't get it, but it's all overdone. It's all it's ever done for me is strengthen the looming sense of guilt that I already feel 24/7.
Do you live in a different time area?
It just doesn't seem helpful. Also, we don't use the term XXX privilege, I just blank privilege, I assume, for any other advantage people are born with. Is there white privilege in neighborhoods with predominantly African American police force? Probably, yeah, but probably not because of the police, or not to the same extent. Seems to me that analyzing the specific cases in which racism and other forms of prejudice affect government and social structures would be much more productive. Phew. Okay. Patrick gets money for his Vine comps. Nice. That is nice. My favorite one involves Mr. Fields. So,
I don't remember that one.
God damn, that was a long comment.
That was long.
You have some opinions about that, I'm sure.
The alien stuff is probably true, but I'm still hopeful about aliens. The U.S. Secret Service stuff, I don't think they're the ones that killed JFK.
Possibly.
But also the fact that you reminded me that guns are super easy to get in the United States and there's lots of crazy people also reminds me that that's probably the most likely explanation. As far as white privilege goes, that's like an interesting thought. I think people get caught up in it a little too much.
They hear white privilege and they're like, oh, I don't have a great life.
Yeah, that's not really what it is, though. But your thing about the police force is an interesting one because I think
you're in that you're describing a different society.
Yeah, basically.
So basically, you're saying white privilege would not exist if we were living in a different world. You're right.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, there are still like black cops still treat African American citizens like shit.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's like I think it becomes an institutional thing at that level because you're kind of like dehumanizing them. I don't know. It's weird, but it's a phenomenon that's like pretty well documented. That you think African American cops would be like more racially sensitive or whatever. In some cases, I'm sure they are. But
they're usually pressured by everybody else in the agency to treat the people the same.
Yeah, exactly. So you kind of just end up in the same situation, unfortunately.
John Oliver talked about, I'm not sure what race this person was, but he was talking about how one officer was telling his chief about some misdeeds that his fellow officers did, and then he had a dead rat left on his desk and pictures of cheese printed out at home. And so, yeah, there's a lot of pressure, I assume, in this situation because cops are human at the end of the day, and humans can suck.
Yeah, what the fuck? Any other YouTube comments? This is from Lou. I have a good friend who's constantly making up crazy lies to, I guess, make her life sound more interesting. I always pretend to believe her because I genuinely like her, but it's so frustrating because I feel like we should have more to talk about if she just stops.
We were talking about the people who say things that are just like completely unbelievable, like, and everybody stood up and clapped.
That man, Albert Einstein.
This is about XXXTentacion, I assume. Calcifer Pendragon. That's a fucking awesome name. But this is exactly what I was telling people who said that he helped people out of a bad place, but he also got them into a bad place. He's talking about like people who sort of lent on that stuff to feel better.
That's a good eloquent way of putting that. I like that. All right. Thank you for your comments and emails and fan art, everyone. I
hate calling it that.
It's just so much shit. Not shit. It's great. I love it. Thank you.
so much fucking garbage.
Fucking shit. Do we have any other DMs? No. Do we have Twitter stuff? No, we don't.
I got a Twitter thing. Hang on, it was really important. Hang on. Hang on. Priscilla said, "You're a handsome boy." Thank you.
Aww.
Y'all stop hooking up with people.
Yeah, that's exactly how it went.
What's the next one?
Listen, we gotta start charging by the hour for your attention because this is getting out of hands.
Who?
You.
Who?
All right. Well, let's wrap this up.
Don't be humble. Anyways. If you want to leave a rating, that'd be sweet to counteract that motherfucker who said we're lose. Leave a review on the iTunes store and tell him to get lost.
Yeah, bozo.
That fucking bozo. Remember, Prude dudes, it's a lose-lose. If you want to send us an email with any fan art, fan questions, fan comments, anything you want, send it to prudedudes@gmail.com. And if you're a business that wants to sponsor us to talk about Ford Loco, also email us there.
Or anything else.
If you want to send a thing to our Instagram or our Twitter, that's at Prude Dudes for both. If you want to follow us on our personal Twitter accounts, I'm at AlexPenda97, Patrick is at PatrickSheralto5, and Yaman is at its_Yaman. Thank you again for listening, guys. Happy 50 episodes, and we'll see you again next week.
Bye-bye.
Hello.
This is Yaman.